Hello, everybody. This is Patty with either you're watching through Get Balanced 2020 or you're watching through my other channel, which is Divine Warrior Intuitive. Welcome. I appreciate you showing up. And this is actually being recorded live, so hopefully everything comes through okay and you learn something, have fun with it and everything. I just got done. I'm on a video binge today because I've been behind. So I just got done doing a video on low and high vibrations. I hope you'll go and look at that. And this one actually sort of is going to interplay with that because it's about proactive versus reactive, how that affects our energies as well, but how it affects our daily life and the choices and the decisions that we make. And if you're on my Get Balanced 2020 channel, it will play into your mind, your spirit, and even your body being proactive and reactive, because we actually start with mind in this one and with spirit and then the body, because they do work all together, but your body will react in anything that you think and how you do that as well. So because some people say, I don't know why I'm losing weight or how I'm doing it, but hey, well, it's a different mindset as well. So today we're going to talk about proactive versus reactive. And if you would please, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And if you do subscribe, make sure you hit that bell once you subscribe so that you can get notifications of videos like this, where I just decide I'm going to do them live rather than upload. For us who do YouTube, it takes a lot more work to upload. And I understand why they do it, because they can incorporate and edit and stuff like that. But it also is much quicker, and I like to interactive to do the lives. So you'll see me more live, especially on Divine Warrior Intuitive, because I'm there almost every day. So let's get started. So please subscribe and share. I'm new on Divine Warrior Intuitive, and that would really help the channel out. So proactive and reactive, excuse me, I got an itch, sorry about that. I used to be very, very reactive until I really learned what proactive was about. Why and how do we have the mindset to be what we are or who we are? Do we think proactive I'm going to explain what they are so we can find out what you are. And maybe you already know, but let's find out. So reactive actually can start from when we're kids. So we're actually trained how to either be proactive or reactive. And we're trained from a very young age on. If there's any dysfunction or trauma in your life, you're probably a more reactive of a person because you weren't really taught how to be proactive, because you're too busy thinking about, for me, I was abused. So I would sit there and think and worry and live in fear and want to lie and manipulate and try to make sure that everything just kept going with the flow kind of thing, because I didn't want to interrupt, or I didn't want to upset the apple cart per se. So reactive can actually be formed at a very, very young age. Now, if you're in a healthy household, 2 parents, everything's going good, good education, good moving forward, maybe they're successful. It doesn't have to financially be successful, but they've got a good background, good morals, integrity, that kind of thing. You probably are a little bit more ahead of the game in being proactive. But that can change at any time. You can actually turn to be reactive rather than proactive. You can turn to be proactive to reactive. Sorry, my phone just went off. And so you can actually change to do those things. So which is better? What do you think is better? What are you? Okay, so we're going to go into proactive first. That is the better of the two. And there's for many, many reasons why it is better for you to be proactive than reactive. So in our thinking process, the person who actually is proactive is thinking a little bit more futuristic in mind. And I don't mean, oh, wow, they like sci-fi kind of stuff. No, they actually are thinking in a forward movement. Now, I've put some little key points down there for those of you who like to keep notes. So, but this is actually sort of what I'm going to be talking about. So proactive is actually an outward kind of thinking. It's like you're not thinking, it's not meaning like I'm thinking about myself or I'm thinking about others. No, it's an outward thinking where you're thinking towards solutions. You're thinking towards planning. You're thinking towards goal setting. You're thinking towards team player work. We're thinking for, and this can happen in school. If you're in college or you're coming into college, this is really important for you as young folks to, or I shouldn't say that, I'm dating myself, young people, that you actually would really want to do, because it will keep you on target, keep you on track. You will be able to finish much easier. You won't have so much homework. You won't have to study as much and cram as much. But it's the same thing as for work. We get complacent in our work, and we all know that there's somebody who sits there on their behind not doing as much work while you're busy doing whatever it is you're doing, and you're busting your hump, and they're just getting the rewards because nobody notices. That's a different topic for a different day, but that's reactive. So we know about those people. We're working on us right now. So the best thing to do is be proactive. That forward movement, that successful thinking, and you just keep moving towards that. And what basically proactive does is, for example, even if you're a proactive person and you want to take a vacation, so a proactive person will actually maybe 6 months or a year ahead think, okay, or maybe even further than that, maybe 2 years ahead, depending on how big the vacation is. But they're going to sit there and they're going to plan everything out. Now, if you're like me, when I was young, and I'll get to that reactive part of that, but as a proactive, as we're young, we don't think like that as much. So we don't think about planning about, okay, how much is the airplane ticket? Where can I find, less expensive? What's the best way to go about finding an airplane ticket? Or should I be buying it from this website or this website? Should I talk to a travel agency? These are proactive thinking. Once I get that airplane ticket, okay, what hotel, what destinations do I want to go? Where do I want to go? And how am I going to set that up? I'm going to have my budget. I'm going to have everything planned. And then I'm going to set it all up from point A to point Z. And that's going to be set up. Now, once I'm at my vacation, here's some things that you can think of too. So depending on the person, most proactive people, not all, will actually, when they get to their destination, maybe they'll have a whole itinerary planned out. Maybe people with reunions, family reunions, will have a whole itinerary planned out. Somebody in the family is proactive, but not all. So, but when you get to that destination, maybe you have an itinerary planned out. Maybe this person is proactive, but they want to play around with being just a free spirit. They get to the end and then they just decide, well, let's decide what we're going to do each day. And we'll just do that. Or maybe they'll just plan one day and then plan the next day ahead. That's proactive. They actually thought about the process. They thought about it. They analyzed it. Then they moved forward in the planning. They executed everything that they planned to do, and they met their goal and their destination. Proactive. Same with work, same with school, same with anything that you do in life. If, for example, doing these videos for my 2 YouTube channels, I have to plan out ahead what I want to talk about, what I want to plan about, what the whole thing is, how long I want it to be. Do I want to run it live? Do I want to upload it? What day do I want to do that? What is the audience and who do I? All these things go into it, and it's not just a half hour or an hour. Then I have to input all the data. Then I actually have to sit there and do the video, and then I have to watch the analyzing of after. If it was interesting, if it was not interesting, should I do it again? Should I add another sequel? These are things for proactive that we want to get to the goal, because my end goal is something I will share at some point in time, but I would love to be a popular YouTube channel. Everybody does. But the thing is, you have to have a goal, a plan to get there. Now, I could just sit there and do a YouTube channel any day, just plop it on and throw it on, and maybe by chance it might be successful, but 9 times out of 10, it's not, because there has to be a process of planning, an education on how to do things to make it more visible and viewable and all that kind of stuff. Unless you're one of the 1% where you actually get a one-hit wonder kind of thing. So anyway, so those are things, and it's not only proactive in your workplace, in your school, you need to be proactive with yourself, with your health, your nutrition, taking care of your body, being proactive. Okay, I need to go get my teeth cleaned once a year, twice a year, whatever it is for you. Being proactive, setting those dentist appointments up ahead, and making sure that your doctor's appointments, if you're a lady, you got all kinds of doctor's appointments, and you got to get those checked out. And then those are things for yourself. Also, your mental health and your physical health and your spiritual health. What do I need to stay balanced? And like when we talk in Get Balanced 2020, what do I need for me spiritually to stay balanced? Patty needs to be out in nature. If I don't get out in nature, I go lulu. And trust me, you don't want me to go lulu. But the other thing too, mentally, what do I need? Patty, I need research. I have to research. I love to research. I love to educate. How can I help somebody make their life better? Those things I have to actually do. Feeding your body, being proactive about your mind, spirit, and body. So also too, when you do this pattern or process of being proactive, you will reach your goal. Whether you like it once you get there or not, you will reach your goal. It's almost impossible to reach your goal if it is something that you set realistically to meet. Now, I'm not talking, and I don't need one of these students to come up and say, well, I want to be the president of the United States, or I want to be an astronaut. Well, it doesn't mean, have you done your education and your due diligence to know what it takes to be one of those? Maybe you can, but maybe you don't have the skills it takes for an astronaut, but it doesn't mean you can't study something in you know what I mean, science. I used to fly planes. What do we call that? Aeronautical. Anyway, okay. So, and the thing is, when you do all these processes, you do have to stop and analyze everything along the way. Even if you get to a vacation, okay, we have this all set. Now with the COVID, okay, do we have to make any changes? Do we have to, cancel something, put something in place? So you do have to come back and check things occasionally to make sure that you are on track. Okay, so you can't just go and set it all up and, okay, sometimes, but not always. So whether it's a vacation, whether it's a marriage, when you're going into dating, for us people that are single, when you're going into dating, that has to be a process as well, proactive. You need to know yourself. You need to know if you're going in whole, if you're going in broken, if you're going in as a rescuer, or if you're needing to be rescued. You need to do your due diligence of your homework of who you are. That's at the letter A. Then you actually, as you go through that process and through the interview process of somebody else, you have to know your intent, what you want. Maybe you just want to hook up. Maybe you want to get married. Maybe you want to know whatever it is. So A to C is probably for a hookup. Yeah, you want to go get hooked up. There you go. Woo! There you go. But if you want to get married, okay, you have an interview process. You have a courting process. You have some standards and boundaries that you're setting in that whole process. And it takes time to make sure. Then when you get to the proposal, he or she has to propose. Then you've got to plan the wedding. You've got a process. Proactive has a process. You will get to that end goal, but it is a process. You'll get there faster being proactive because instead of going up the mountain and jig-jaggy up the mountain, being reactive, you're going to go up that mountain nice and smooth and get there. You think about this now because every successful person on this earth had a plan, executed the plan, and achieved the plan. And you take, for some reason, the astronauts that just went up to the space station, that just came into play. They had to execute a humongous plan, and because of the weather, praise God, that it was nice, executed, and straight up they went. Sometimes you'll get a little loop here and there. Maybe the weather is not going to go. We're not going to have to wait. We're going to have to wait another 5 hours or 10. I mean, those little things are typical and normal. But if you're proactive and you're forward thinking and successful thinking, it's not going to bother you that much. You're going to just say, because it's all about solution solving, that kind of thing. Now, let's go to reactive. Whew, reactive, because that was me. That was me, totally, until I was probably, actually, 2006, I think. I started dating a guy. We were actually going to get married. And one day he said, you know what, you're really reactive. You need to get to be proactive. And I'm like, and I was 40-ish. Let's see. I was in my 40s. I didn't even know what it was. What do you mean proactive, reactive? What do you mean? I'm not. And I was studying to be a police officer at that time. I was like, ooh, but the thing is that I didn't have an idea. And so Patty, the researcher, starts digging deeper and deeper. And I'm like, oh, I got a lot to learn. And so Patty had to change her way of thinking, process thinking, change her spirit, because that's where it starts. Because reactive, now remember, proactive is a high vibration. It is a much higher, it's a much more positive vibration. Reactive is a low vibration, and it's inward thinking. Now think about that for a minute. Who do you know in all your friends that mainly is inward? And I won't say the word lazy, but it's more of a fly by the seat of your pants kind of a person. Everybody has one in their life, okay? We all have one in their life. I used to be that person. So I know we all have one in our life. But the problem is that it's more inward thinking. There isn't much solution solving. The energies are lower. The vibrations are lower. It's somebody who actually doesn't want to do the research or doesn't really like to research, or they don't motivate themselves forward to do the research that they need to do to become proactive and make a plan. So let me give you an example, as I was going to say from the very beginning. Excuse me. So when I was younger, I was all reactive, remember? So let me go through a couple of things, because then this is going to make sense to you a little bit more. So when you go with the flow, your climb is going to be a lot more rockier, because you're not planning things ahead. So when something comes up that is actually a bump in the road, you're like, oh crap, what do I do now? Or how do I get around this now? So it takes time away from actually getting to your goal, your end result. Because most of the time, instead of going up that mountain nice and smooth, you actually are going to come in more bumps than you ever imagined along the way. And if you don't, you got lucky. You just got lucky, if you believe in luck. Or somebody's allowing you to go through that, because sometimes it's going to trip you up and it's going to be more major than you ever expected. And it could be very detrimental, not only to life, but also to your job or the people around you. And I'll share a story with that, because it's really important to have some examples so that you understand how it can affect not only you and your future, but the people around you. Okay, so your destination is going to take longer if you're and usually reactive people can be more negative in their thinking. I don't care. Whatever happens. Yeah. And this younger generation, I really hate to hear this, but I hear it a lot. Just kill me now. Just die. I just want to die. It's like, what the heck is with this? It's like there is no resilience. A lot of reactive people have no resilience, no persistence, no perseverance. And the thing is, because everybody else may be enabling them, maybe they're codependent on somebody and they're allowing that to happen. That's for another story. But a lot of the times, reactive people got people saving them all over the place, so that it's okay especially if you're going through abuse, which I know, it's like, oh, it's okay. I'll take care of that. Oh, it's okay. I know. Oh, then you become playing the victim, or, oh, when that happened to me, I was really hurt. And, then we end up in a whole different avenue. So that could be a reactive person. So your climb is going to be a lot rockier. Your vibrations are going to be lower. It's inward thinking, so you really don't care about whatever anybody else is doing. You're just going to do your job only. That's what you get paid for. And then you're going to go home, hit the clock and go home. But, well, we need to get this done. It's a deadline. Well, not my job. Going home. That's the type of reactive thinking that happens. Okay, the other thing too, it can be two things. The next things. One, the reactive person does not realize the impact not only they're doing for themselves, they're blind to it, but they don't understand the impact it is causing around the people with them that they maybe even care and love, because they don't seem to care is just the easiest word I can say. And when that happens, and maybe they say they care, but their actions don't show they care. So the other thing too in that aspect is, and I'll tell you from me being that way back in the day, is that you don't care about what happens to the other person because you don't even care about yourself. That's where the root is. When a reactive person doesn't even care about themselves, how can they care about anybody else? And what happens is that person can become manipulative. They can become a liar. They can become all these things. I'm not saying that everybody that is reactive, but this can happen because I lived it. I'm the firsthand knowledge of it. I became a liar, a manipulator, because I could get people to do anything for me because I just could. So I did. That's a reactive person. Why should I do it when I can get somebody else to do it? Pretty bad attitude. But I didn't know I was in it until somebody educated me on it. But I wanted to change. My spirit and heart wanted to change because I didn't want to affect. I felt bad when I realized how effective I was up to people's finances or to their feelings or to them trying to help me out. So with that, I'm going to take you through a couple scenarios. The first one that keeps coming to my head, and I guess I'm supposed to tell it, because I'm an empath, so I hear divine sometimes talking to me. I also hear and feel sensations. Empaths are extremely sensitive to energies and vibrations and things like that. But so when I was younger, so I have been to Japan, I think 8-9 times. I've lived there for 3.5 years totally. The first time I went, I was 14 with my mom. Manipulated her into getting me to go with her. Happened. I went. But wasn't costing me anything. Cost my mom and my family a lot, but it didn't cost me anything. But then I ended up going back several times. But because I was such a reactive, I thought, okay, I'm going to work. I got sick of my job at the age of 18, 19. This is a long story. But the thing is, the bottom of the line is, I started to go and live in Japan at the age of 18. I was working as a manager at McDonald's, and I said, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. So I went and taught English for the first year. Do you know how much money I had in my pocket? I went flying by the seat of my pants, had no idea. I just knew that somebody's going to take care of me once I get there. So I went in with $300 in my pocket. They paid my airfare. Oh, piece of cake. $300 in my pocket, all this luggage, all this. Hey, let's go. I didn't know how much money I was going to be making or anything like that. Reactive. I was young, naive, didn't know. But nobody educated me about that. And my mother didn't ask me, well, how much is it going to cost you? Have you saved all this money? Blah, 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 blah. Have you done all this kind of stuff? Nope. I'm just going to go. I'm a free spirit. I'm going. Luckily, and I did that for how many times? And luckily, I didn't have anything happen to me. But the whole problem was I involved somebody else to take care of me. Yes, I had a job, but then, when my money ran out, well, what's going to happen the rest of the month? So that's reactive. That's not healthy thinking. That's not forward thinking. Yeah, I went forward, but at somebody else's expense at some times. Okay, so proactive, we're Disney people. We have family working in Disney. Proactive, my family member luckily gets some discounts, but when we want to take a Disney trip, I have to sit there and plan, okay, we want how much airfare, we're going to Disneyland, Disney World, where are we going? What is the time frame that we have? What is it that we want to do? Where do we want to go? And make the plan. Okay, proactive. That's because I've been trained, retrained, restructured my thinking process, actually moved things forward. Let me give you another example, and I'm going to say this, and this is going to reflect or resonate with somebody out there, somebody that either knows somebody about this, or they're going through it, or going to go through it. I'm going to try to save you some pain and agony, is that, yeah. Okay, so the thing is, you can be proactive, but somebody coming into your life that is very reactive can not only damage your financial, can damage your family, can actually change somebody's outlook about someone or even some things, and could be detrimental to many things. That is why it's really important, if you are a proactive person, you have proactive people in your life, or if you have a reactive person that wants to learn about proactive, you teach them about it, you help them through it, because we're not here for us, we're here to help others, because this is going to resonate with somebody. Way back in 2008, 7, 8, somewhere, before my criminal justice days, I actually met somebody from another country and believed everything they said, okay? And also, even though I'm proactive and I'm planning things out, oh, okay, they're coming here, we need to find out a place to live, we need to, how much your budget is, what's going to, if we're going to get married, when that's going to happen, all that kind of stuff. What the other person is reactive, and I was so naive back then that what happened is I allowed that reactive person into my life, and then what happens? That person has reactive. They don't care. Remember I said they can be manipulating, they can be lying, they can be deceitful, they can be very low energies. Well, that's exactly what happened. Even though I was forward thinking and proactive now and thinking proactively, I'm thinking that they're proactive as well. Not the case. So, of course, they came over, they wanted a green card, they didn't care how hard I was working, what money I was making, cost my family, not only cost me a lot of money, but cost my family. They come into a home, they don't care. They're more there for their green card and their family back home and supplying them with their means and their money back there. They don't, at some point, they don't care about what is here. And I have a whole video about catfishing. Please watch it. I'm going to do this and this so that if I go ahead and go through, I will put that video right here and you can click on it, because it is very damaging to bring someone who is reactive into your life because you're working so hard to stay proactive. Put that bubble around. What happened at the end of that? Not so happy for some of the other people out there, because I help people with catfishing so that they know that they're being scammed. It's going to cost not only them, it's going to cost their family, it's going to cost them financially, and you may have a child out of that that's going to cost you a lifetime. So if anybody is watching, they're like, oh my gosh, that's my friend, that's my mom, that's my dad, please have them, or you even email me and we'll discuss it, because I can tell you within a couple of seconds, because that's what I studied. That's what I did. I went to another country and actually watched it happen firsthand, watching how they do it, and they laugh about it. But here's the ending of my story, is that you let that reactive person in. It did end. It ended on my note because I actually did a prenuptial agreement. Yeah, they don't like that very much. But the other thing too is I probably will never see that money, but that person took off. And then when they need you again, they'll be back. Then when they don't need you again, they'll take off. But the thing is with mine, didn't get his green card. Didn't like that very much. But the thing is, most people do because they don't know about the system. But I'm getting off track. Reactive does not work with proactive unless the proactive person is willing to educate the reactive and the reactive person is willing to move forward and learn how to be proactive and be successful in life, get to their goals, hit their dreams, and all that kind of stuff. Does that all make sense to you? If it doesn't, go ahead and email me, message me, comments, whatever, because I will answer. I will answer because this is not about me. This is about educating, coaching, and helping you to understand, maybe to help share with somebody else to understand. So at the end of the day, please learn how to be proactive. And it does take some research. But you know what? In the long run, your life, your family's life, and your work life, your school life, you're going to achieve much faster, easier. It's going to cost you less money. It's going to bring you more joy, less stress. And here's why. Because if you do take that vacation, I'm very proactive in scheduling the vacation. But once I get there, I like to relax and just go with the flow. I like to, when we go to Hawaii, I go and there for a week. I don't plan anything because I want to take in whatever the culture is for that day. And it might be something fun, might be lazy, might be fun. Maybe, I scuba dive and I windsurf and I do all that kind of stuff. I used to anyway. And maybe I want to do those things, but maybe I just don't want to do anything. But that's okay. I'm proactive. I know what I like. I know what I want. I know where I'm going. And I know what to expect or not expect. That's another thing. Expectations. Woo! What a topic. So, at the end of the day, just know that in your dating, in your marriage, in your work, in your school, that you want your life to be easier, more balanced, more successful. It's much, much easier to educate yourself now to be proactive. It doesn't take that long to change a habit. As we talk in nutrition and fitness, it takes about 21 days. Just depends on how long you've been into that bad habit. Sometimes you can go cold turkey and do it. If it's healthy, if you can do that. Proactive, you can make that mindset right now to say, I am not going to be reactive anymore. I am going to plan. No matter how hard it is going to be for me to do that, I'm going to do that. Boom. And do it. Do it. Because you know what? You're going to be much more happier and joyful. And life is going to be so much more balanced. And balance means living in peace, walking in the truth, being true to yourself, and telling people truthfully who you are, the way that you were created, and to live your purpose and your calling. And that is balance and success, not money. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, please, again, subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. Share. And don't forget, if you do subscribe, hit the bell so that you can see these videos again. This is a little bit longer. They're usually about a half an hour, but there's been some topics lately that I think are really important to go a little bit longer. So I hope you enjoyed this, and see you at the next video, or see you at Divine Warrior Intuitive almost every day. Talk to you later.